Yeah, hello. It's not easy talking about ant, which is what I want to talk to you about, simply because it's so huge. I've tried 3 times to do this succinctly, and each time the videos got longer until they were an hour. So I've made notes. These are my notes. This is very um, out of tradition with me, because usually I do everything ad-libbed. But the whole AMP thing is out of tradition with me. It's a real break with tradition. The self-given brief was not to copy myself with this, but to um, use all the strands of my skill sets that I've been developing. I mean, I'm in my 60s now. It's taken a long time to develop all these and combine them in a way that I've never done before to produce something that would be so powerful that it will change your life in 6 weeks. And that is not bullshit. This is actually really genuine. I mean, it's certainly done it for me. Well, it's taken a bit longer than 6 weeks because I've been working on it for a while. But I have a very reliable group of beta testers who will corroborate in glowing terms everything I'm about to tell you. So what is ANT? Well, it's about manifesting. Everybody wants to manifest more, better, or they want to be able to manifest keeping what they've got going. Everybody wants to manifest more harmony in their relationships, more flow with money, more health, more strength, more mental focus, more clarity, more enjoyment. And of course they do. This is the drive of nature, wanting to progress. In fact, we are manifesting things all the time anyway. Everything you have is what you've manifested. It's just that when you don't take active control of it or command of it, it's the unresolved aspects of your unconscious mind which operate through childhood associations, which will make the choices for you, and they'll be manifesting things a bit haphazardly because we're based on a child's view, which is when all that started. Now, the way manifesting works is essentially that you have to change the story that you're telling yourself about the world and your place in it. And the way you do this is by changing the internal narrative that you've got running in the forebrain that you use to uphold the story for yourself and thereby make sense of life in some way. And there are many ways, no, there aren't actually, there's a few, maybe there's a couple of ways, in fact, of changing that internal, no, there are many ways of changing the internal narrative. I mean, you have psychotherapy, you have hypnotherapy, and all those sorts of things, shamanism and everything else, all of which play their part in AMP, incidentally. But the one of the main ways of changing the internal narrative is through the use of what we call affirmations, positive statements. And this is nothing new. The Taoists, which is the tradition that I follow, have been using affirmations forever. They're pretty simple. It's like when you're doing your practice, your martial art practice, for example, a move like that would be linked with the idea of strength, clarity, or whatever. So that every day as you go through your training, your physical meditation training, whatever, you're constantly affirming the positive qualities and outcomes that you desire. But they could get a lot more complex than that, affirmations, and they have to address the cynical, fearful part of your mind. They can't be in denial of that. I mean, the way they work is amazing. You could be feeling really like low, and you just start affirming, even though I'm feeling low, from this low, I'm feeling high. From this low, I'm feeling high. In fact, I don't know why, but I'm starting to feel high. And if you just keep repeating that without believing it, because it only gets in the way of it, you let it go for a couple of hours, you'll notice you're actually feeling quite high. They work regardless of your conscious mind's endeavors to kind of scupper them even. Well, the thing is with affirmations, they take a lot of time and a lot of application and a discipline. And over a period of time, you will really radically transform your life if you can stay with it. It's something that I've done myself. So I know that it works. I mean, I do it all the time, in fact. But because we're all busy, and I'm always thinking of how do I get to my brothers and sisters with offerings that will give them this reality that I enjoy. I know that sounds gloating, but it's not. It's not meant to be. I mean, I work hard for it through all the training and it works, but I know that people aren't as dedicated, basically. And why should you be? You've got other things you're dedicated to. So this is my way of helping. If I can speed it up for you, if I can shortcut it, if I can do you, what do they call the fast track thing, so that you actually get it, but not nonsense, but really get it. And to do that, you have to bring a lot of other elements. So imagine that instead of you having to sort your own internal narrative out, I could do it for you. Instead of you having to choose the affirmations, because that's an art, I was doing that for you. Instead of you having to either write them down or repeat them to yourself, I was doing it for you. Now imagine that that was set against a backdrop of, I have to say, magnificent music, mind-altering, mood-altering music, using a whole range of frequency design that is to change the state in a harmonious way. The main one of which is 300 hertz. And that actually is been, there have been scientific studies that show that it does actually benignly alter the brain chemistry in the forebrain where your internal narrative takes place. The idea of it is that it engenders a very relaxed, open state, very receptive state. Then imagine that that was underscored by a line of subliminal affirmations repeating the core messages throughout that you don't hear. Occasionally you might hear a bit of a glimmer, creating a slight rhythmic effect in the underswell. But the subconscious hears them, so that that allows the top line narrative to be art rather than technical. So rather than be a literal linear kind of narrative, it's allowed to become lyrical, which is much better for the listener because you absorb much more that way. Likewise with the music, I mean, if a painting can tell us, can speak 1,000 words, very beautiful, powerful, multi-layered music can paint 1,000 paintings. I mean, the visual landscapes that it provides are, you know, they're infinite and remarkable. And it's important because you have to tame to an altered state to do the affirmations for them to work, because it's magic. It's like a ritual almost. And then now, if you could imagine that that was delivered to you, one episode a week for 6 weeks. The episodes range from 34 minutes to 55 minutes each. And the 6 episodes deal with the 6 main aspects of life. So the first episode, change your story about other people and how they are with you and you are with them. Second episode is change your story about the world of things, the world of tasks, and how you are in that and how it is with you, getting things done, being able to operate clearly. The third episode is changing the story about yourself. You know, who are you and what are your qualities and so on, your self-esteem, confidence, and everything else. The fourth episode is changing the story about money, because that's always very close to everybody's heart. I don't care how enlightened you are, we all need it, and we all need it to keep flowing. So the fourth story changes the story, the fourth episode changes the story about money and how you operate with it and you. The fifth episode is changing the story about love. Love in all its forms, but ultimately the love of being here, because that's the main love. And the sixth finale episode is changing the story about life and death and immortality and eternity and all the huge context issues, so that you feel comfortable within all of those realms. And it totally transforms your relationship with each of those realms by the end of the 6 weeks. Well, that essentially is AMPED. I mean, I could go on about it for ages, but it's not going to really give you the clue until you check it out for yourself. So I hope this inspires you to engage with AMPED. Affirmation, manifesting, procedure, electronically delivered specifically for you, so that all you have to do is press play once a day and it changes everything. For real. Thank you.